They're literally about to do.
Well,
They're literally about to do both running backs on the field at the same time. I'm
yeah.
with Ethan on this one.
Listen, if you
Mm,
don't think that Aaron Jones is going to
I
blow up
don't
this
think.
season
I
without
don't
Devontae
think so.
Adams,
We know
you're
you
drunk.
don't think.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, I may be drunk, but I don't think so. And you can put it on the record.
Okay.
Wait,
Well,
all right.
here we go.
Okay,
everybody.
all right. Hold on. I'm ready. Can we make this a bet? So
Okay.
No.
No. Go ahead,
No
Josh.
bets.
We're gonna
No
bet.
bets.
We're gonna
All
bet.
right.
We're gambling
Over-
men.
all
We're
right.
not at Sagu
Over
anymore.
Okay, over under 55% that Aaron Jones is a top 10 back. Because I'm going over.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go over it too. That he's a top 10 running back.
I don't think he is.
Honestly, my
Okay,
prediction
Ryan's
for
taking
running
out-
backs this year are going to be ridiculous. I
Yeah.
think we're going to have 20 running backs with over 250 points.
I'm leaning.
I think that's true.
I think that's true. But as far as Aaron Jones, Ryan, you're taking us out to dinner at the end of the year.
Yep. We're all in
Okay.
agreement. All right, here we go.
I'll do that. I'll do that. And what happens if you guys lose?
Hello and welcome back to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name's Ethan, joined today by Ryan, Josh, and a very special guest, the last place member of the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast, Alex Held.
Welcome, Alex.
Toilet bowl
toilet
winner of
bowl winner.
2021.
Yes. Surprisingly, Ryan couldn't outthrow him, which is saying something.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Alex, we love you here. We love you
Yes.
here.
Welcome to the show. I think this is your first official visit on the show. So welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to be on the show
And
with y'all.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining us.
And
We really appreciate
Josh,
it.
what are we here to talk about today?
It is STAT-A-THON episode 2. We are talking about the running backs of the NFL last season.
Yeah, and
Yep.
some
Yeah,
predictions for this
2021.
next season. So yeah, that's the good thing to mention. All of these numbers are coming from 2021. We did a lot of behind the scenes research and kind of put this all together. Are we going to show the spreadsheet?
Oh,
Or are we
we
going to keep that
can.
private?
We can if you like.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, we
And
might as well show how the running
Alex
backs played.
can reference for some of his points that he's going to make today. But yeah, this is part of the work that we have collaborated on, mainly Josh and Ryan, because they're amazing and we love Josh and Ryan. But we're talking about running backs. And Alex, you're our guest, so why don't you start us off with your first running back?
All right. My RB1 last year was Zeke, running back of the Cowboys. And even though he was still a 1,000-yard back and got me as a whole some quality points, I don't know if I would take him as a RB1 for the upcoming year, though.
You wouldn't redraft
I
him?
agree.
I
I
agree
wouldn't
100%.
redraft him that high, no.
Okay, fair enough.
And
Tony Pollard,
even as a-
do what?
Even as a diehard Cowboys fan, yeah.
I mean,
I
I
get
would
Honestly,
take
that's a
him
bold statement
maybe
for
like
you, Alex.
a-
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
maybe as like a later round, but I want to use a second rounder on him, like I did.
I mean, a
last year.
third round pick for RB5 would be ridiculous.
Would be
value.
ridiculous value.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you
I
do you
he'd be
think
good.
do you think we're at the end of Zeke?
Well,
No.
I don't know because I think we're at the end of the Zeke we saw his rookie year. I don't think we'll
Yeah.
see the
Okay.
Zeke that will always be competing for rushing titles anymore. I think Zeke's been banged up over the years, and I think that Tony Pollard, the other running back on the Cowboys, is very dynamic as well. And I think that with Kellen Moore's great offensive mind, he might use them more in a 50-50 shot, kind of like what we saw with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara on the Saints a few years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Honestly,
My
I
Yeah.
think Zeke has a resurgent year this year. I think Zeke's 1,000-yard rusher. I think he'll have more touchdowns than 10, which is what he had last year. I think he'll have more receiving yards and receptions. But that's just me. I think with Amari gone, there's a work share that's opened up
there's a
That's
giant
gotta
hole
be-
considering
Yeah,
we have
Yeah.
no
Right.
idea whether Gallup is going to be ready, and then you're going to have
Right.
a rookie receiver in Jalen Tolbert. You have Dalton Schultz still, but I mean, I guess for me, why I'm very hesitant on Zeke is the use of Tony Pollard. And he
Yeah,
seems to be
competition.
more of the slashing home run threat kind of back. And then what did we
Right.
see with Zeke was a lot of pass pro, and then you're able to do a lot of things, but he's not going to be taking like a 30 to 50-yard house call anymore.
Yeah. No,
Right,
he
yeah.
doesn't have that in him anymore.
So I don't know. To me, I don't think he hits the 5 spot because
really.
yes, here's why. Because Derrick Henry would have beaten him. I think
Okay.
if like Dalvin Cook's a little healthier, he beats him. And we're expecting improvement from either Javante, DeAndre Swift, even Devin not Singletary. I can't disrespect him that much, but you see Nick Chubb at RB11, you see Antonio Gibson, and we're expecting a huge rise from Aaron Jones. I can see Zeke being out of the top 10.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. Alex, where do you see Zeke?
Interesting.
Your RB1 next season.
I can kind of see him outside the top 10 as well for like total points. I think he would be good, like depending like on the matchup, obviously, like who the Cowboys are playing, like which defense they play, like that's bad against the run or good against the run. But it'd be interesting to see like which one I'm going to start next year because I have both him and Tony Pollard on the same team, and
And a
that might
great
be a little
move by you to
tricky.
absolutely rob Josh.
Yeah, you kind
Good
of
on you,
robbed
by the
me.
way.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that was a good trade.
stupid Gus Edwards.
Good job, Alex.
Thank you.
No, I can see that. I can see him outside of the top 10, but I don't know if this is going to be in the intro to the show. But one thing I mentioned is I can see the top 20 running backs this next season in the NFL all having over 250 points.
No, I mean I'm in full agreement with that.
Maybe even over 270.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'll say 270, but I can go with 250 because I think we're really about to have a running back resurgence.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
part of that is just how the league has gone within the last few years, especially the 2010s. Like you started with very pass happy offenses. 3 wide receivers were the main thing. Tight ends were there as well, receiving tight ends for that matter. And then in 2018, what happened? New England went right back to a power run offense.
Right.
When they noticed that you had a lot of defenses. Basically, like I guess the first team to do this overt example was Arizona. Arizona drafts Deion Buchanan in the first round from a safety to a linebacker position. New England realizing, hey, a lot of these defenses they're having smaller players. Well, if we just go big on big with them, we're going to actually win more often than lose. And then that's when the resurgence of the run came back, where all your Shanahans, the Greg Romans, the Kevin Stefanski, they all came to prominence. So
They started grinding out in the run game.
exactly.
Where-
Well, and they're
defense,
asking them
so-
to do so much more now because it's not just running threats anymore now. Like, I mean, you can see even over here on the green part of our list, like they're receiving threats now, and they're getting hundreds of yards
and
and receptions and
a lot of
receiving
that has
touchdowns.
out of play action, unless like Austin Eckler, Najee, I think they could be in obvious passing situations, but
Right.
a
Which
lot
we'll
of it's
get to.
also been in play action.
Yeah, very much.
But I agree. I mean, I think that's a good spot for him. I think we should talk about maybe the number 1 guy really quickly since no one's going to go too
In
much
depth.
in
I mean,
depth.
what more needs to be said? He is
Yeah,
the number
JT is
one.
the running back king.
If he is not the 101 in your redraft,
I don't know about that, Josh.
I don't know about either.
okay, who is the opposition?
Who's the number 1 running back?
Well, are you saying is Jonathan Taylor not the number 1 running back or not the number 1 pick?
I don't think he's the number 1 pick.
Is it Cooper Kupp?
No, the top 2 picks are JJ and Jamar Chase, or you're on crack.
Really?
Those are the top 2 picks, 100%. Let me tell you why JT is in the top 2.
I don't agree with
Well,
that.
hey, that's totally fine. Let me tell you why. Let me make my case, okay? The reason why JT is not in the top 2 picks. Now he's the number 1 running back still, but he's not in the top 2 picks because of Frank Reich's usage of Nyheim Hines this year. That is the only reason. Nehemiah Hines is going to come back. Maybe
Naheem?
not Naheem. I don't know. Whatever.
Naeem,
Hines.
yeah.
Well, we're going to go with Hines is going to come in and he's going to eat at some of JT's value this season. Maybe not as much as
Yes.
Tony Pollard and Zeke, but he's going to eat value. He will
Okay.
not score over 400.
Frank Reich even came out and said draft Naeem Hines in
Yeah.
fantasy football. He literally
Well,
said
all right.
that.
So can I throw devil's advocate like here, because I think the Colts are going to be in a lot more situations where they're going to have to run out the clock rather than like it's a close game. Just because I think the acquisition of Matt Ryan really does prove that. So,
But that can
I-
also produce more passing downs and check downs to running backs. And that's going to go
Sure.
to Hines and not JT.
I can see that, but
Now,
I think
I'm just saying bold predictions, and it's supported by Frank Reich coming out and telling everyone, hey, this is what's going to happen. Now, if you
Yeah.
want to sit here and say, okay, I don't believe you, I mean, go right ahead. Where do you see JT at next season, Alex? Where is he in your rankings?
I would say he's definitely up there, but to your point, Naheem Hines or whatever you say his name, he's more of a like the
Naheem.
receiving back, and so I can definitely see like Matt Ryan doing like a bunch of check downs to him. I do think they'll eat up at his production a little bit, but unless barring injury, Jonathan Taylor did have like a really good year last year, and I can see him kind of producing the
Yeah.
same this year.
Well, and
Especially
I feel like a
I
trend
don't
that we've
see-
seen.
Well, and I also don't see him getting 18 touchdowns next year.
No,
Yeah.
They're not going to be relying on him in the red zone as much.
no.
oh
You
yeah,
know, they do
Okay,
have Matt
uh,
Ryan now.
And here's my
So-
thing too with running backs. A lot of the trends we've seen with them is usually the number one running back from the previous season has a major regression in the following season. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen to him because he's incredibly talented and I love JT.
Yeah,
But
well, and
history repeats
last year it was Derrick Henry and he got injured.
Exactly.
So who knows?
Exactly. Not, I mean,
So-
that's not to say
so
that Henry
who-
didn't average 31 points a game before getting injured.
Yeah, no joke.
Like, Jesus.
yeah. You were look, if Derrick Henry played the entire year, you're winning the league. It's not even close. No
Yeah.
matter
He scores
if you
500
have,
points.
no matter if
Oh,
you have
easily.
Brian
Easily.
Hoyer at quarterback, you're winning the league.
Now, he didn't look great in the playoffs, but I mean, with a
I
lower leg injury. that's
he
understandable.
he nor
Struggled,
Cam
yeah.
Akers looked good, and I think part of that is you're doing so much to get cleared, but then there's
Yeah.
a step between cleared and then football ready.
Well, I mean, there's
Yeah,
a
fully
difference
healthy.
between resting and coming back, like what we saw from Dalvin Cook when he was out those 2 weeks, and then
Yeah.
came back and just absolutely blew up because he just had so much more,
Yeah.
energy, and he was rested. He was fully healthy.
So much energy
and
that Ryan
doing
forgot to start
so
him.
much. Oh my gosh, Ryan, you are never gonna survive that.
I'm never gonna live it down. I
You are
know, I
never
know.
going to survive that.
It was the difference between me getting first seed playoff and losing in the first round.
Oh, Ryan,
So
I don't feel
yeah,
bad for you at all. You deserve all of the hate.
Yeah, I know.
But that's what I
We
see
made
for JT.
mistakes.
Honestly, I could see Eckler as RB1 next year over JT,
I agree with that.
which
I can
I
see
mean,
it.
perfect segue.
but
Yeah.
also my second my first one that I have to talk about is Joe Mixon.
Well,
I
I
think
want to go
Wait,
into
hold on.
is
Let's go to
gonna be
Eckler. Let's
there.
go to
Yeah,
Eckler.
let's go to
I
Eckler
appreciate
first.
the
Let's go to
segue.
Eckler
Yeah, I wanna
first.
hear
Okay,
I want to
okay.
talk about
Go-
Joe Mixon.
Go ahead and go talk about Eckler.
But let's fanboy over Eckler really quick, okay? So Eckler's my first running back. All right. I just acquired him in a trade from Josh's wife, and I am incredibly excited for what he's going to offer this season after all of the Chargers moves. Okay, so first of all, I talked about Josh Allen in the last episode. And with that, I talked about their offensive line being the 10th overall, all the upgrades they made on the offensive line, and how it's pretty much brand new on the right side. And I think that's going to increase his value. Because when you have a team that's a turnover threat and that has a great quarterback with a great offensive line, you can control the tempo of the game.
Yes, and that's
And
more
with
important
controlling
than
the tempo.
anything.
Yeah, with controlling the tempo, if you have a good workhorse running back that can take the carries and the targets, And I mean, last season he got 70 targets. 70 receptions, 94 targets. I only see that going up for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he'll
Agree
hit
with that.
8 receiving touchdowns, but I
No,
think that's a good ballpark. for
I
him.
think that will stay the same, honestly.
Yeah,
I think
it'll be
I think
somewhere
around
there,
the 6
but-
to 8 range, but
I could see more rushing touchdowns too with the improvements they made on the
I mean,
offensive
I'm just
line.
thinking about
Uh,
it. What did
I don't know about-
LA do? Zion Johnson, Jamari Sawyer, they beefed up the interior line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he only averaged 4.42 yards a carry, only had 911 carries. I can see that hitting 1,000 next year.
Yeah.
Plus.
So,
yeah.
Alex, what do you think? What's your take on Eckler?
Right now, I'm trying to pull up the Chargers schedule to kind of see like which
Okay.
defenses
They have the
have
gauntlet because that's the
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, I
do
think they were top
play
10.
and I think the best division right now in football.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah,
AFC
they
The
do.
West.
Raiders
Yeah.
boosted
Not
up on
even close.
defense. The Broncos boosted up, and the Chiefs still are a solid team, but the Chiefs
But I
aren't
mean,
as good defensively.
Even
my
last
opinion.
year, Eckler had Kansas City and Denver and Las Vegas's number.
Right. He
Well,
stole
I
it
mean,
off on 'em.
Denver
Yeah.
and I think Vegas are a brand new team.
Well, and all
And
the
then
additions that the Chargers
I
have
don't-
had on
even
defense as
still,
well, it's going to help him.
I mean, the
because-
Chargers are my number 1 team in the West.
yeah, because they're
Yeah,
not
mine as
going to
well.
have to play keep up, and they're not
Yeah,
going to rely on
and
Herbert's
they
arm.
really
They're going to be
finally
handing it off.
yeah, they finally beefed up the middle of their D line, thank goodness, because that was a
Right.
travesty to watch last year. But
That was the only knock on their
Yeah,
defense.
well,
Like,
it-
they have
but
the
it
best
was-
pass defense in the NFL, and then you just let them run all over you.
yeah,
and
they
it
just didn't
completely takes
have the
away.
right people because they
Yeah.
went from a Seattle scheme into the Brandon Staley scheme.
Right.
And so it was just a mismatch of like players and ideology. But even on top of that, them being not able to control the tempo of the game because of that rush defense, they fixed that this year. Now, I mean, this is where we talk about, does Justin Herbert become QB2 or anything like that? I mean, if he's still gonna sling it, Austin Eckler's part of the passing game. Like, I totally
Yeah.
see him staying in this top 5 range.
Yeah, I mean, I see him as number 1 or number 2 this season. I would be drafting him right after JT in redraft.
I don't. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would be too.
I
That's
agree
just
with
me.
that.
Yeah, that's
That's
a fair
just me.
assessment.
I mean, 24 points a game. He did have the one injury where Justin Jackson came in and absolutely exploded.
It
and
was
got me through my
Houston.
week 15.
If I'm not
window.
mistaken, wasn't it a COVID thing? Like, it wasn't even like,
Yeah, it was a COVID thing. So, okay, injury, but
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have a lot of tear on him. He's young.
Yeah.
He's 25 going on 26.
but
Usually shelf life is about 28-ish for running backs.
Yeah.
but even then, if you look at like some of the rushing attempts between the others, like within like the top 10, he is second fewest when it comes to rushing attempts. The first fewest actually is wild because I did not expect it, but like he's getting in situations where he's not taking a giant beating like a Derrick Henry, like a Jonathan Taylor, like
Right.
even
Yeah.
Joe Mixon to a certain extent. So I think
Well, and he's one
I
of
think
those
he's gonna be
guys when you
there.
watch him, he just doesn't take like big contact. I feel like.
yeah, he
I
does
feel like
not.
he's the
Right.
type of running back who he gets out of bounds or he makes a move and he goes and scores. But he doesn't really take
Yeah.
contact. He's
Yeah.
more shifty.
Yeah, and like he's not like a home run
He's shifty
guy.
and self-preservation.
Yeah, he's not a home run guy, but like if you're in a PPR league, like it's perfect because it's like, all right, cool. You're
Yeah.
only going to get like 15, 20 yards, maybe 30 at the most. And then, oh, but you got the point for the catch. And that, like, you're already like,
Yeah.
he's such a good option. And
Yeah,
I
I mean, he
I
was-
agree
he's
with you,
just a
Ethan.
workhorse.
He is in a low key contention for RB1 next year.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he could be one of the hugest sleepers for next season. A sleeper in the sense of being, he could be the number 1 running back in the NFL.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Now, I don't want to fanboy because he's, on my team. That's just what I see. That's why I was willing to get rid of Cooper Kupp to go and get him.
I mean,
Because I kind of saw this coming.
Was he was so good like beforehand to where
Right.
they let Melvin Gordon go, and you're
Right.
like, oh crap, new scheme, does that change anything? And last year proved didn't change anything whatsoever.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a running back friendly system.
Yeah.
Because like I said with Justin Jackson, he comes in and gets, I think he scored like 25 points or something, like 27
I
points
was in
in
the
that week
30s.
15 matchup. And just, now you get a more talented guy in it, another year, a better Herbert. Yeah, I'm taking Austin Eckler all day.
Yeah. So I mean, we're very high on Austin Eckler. We don't think that's going to change much. But Ryan, how do you feel about Joe Mixon?
I think he's going to definitely stay at top 5 next year. I mean, look at what he did with that offense last year. 20th ranked in rushing offensive line. And look at all the changes that they made on their own line this offseason. They're predicted to be top 10 group. With all of the offensive weapons that they have in Cincinnati, there's no reason that Joe Mixon, other than by injury, there's no reason he shouldn't be in the top 5, at least.
I see a major regression coming from Mixon.
Okay. Why is that?
So my thing with Mixon is, yes, the offensive line is going to be better, but I think that's more of a bonus for T. Higgins and for Jamar Chase than it is for Mixon. I think that they're going to pass the ball a little bit more because basically they knew that their offensive line was bottom in the NFL. And so they were really just giving him the ball on like quick pitches and things of that nature and saying, just do something. And obviously he did that. He's the number 2 rusher in the NFL. But with that better offensive line and giving Joe Burrow more time, Joe Burrow, if I'm not mistaken, he was the most accurate quarterback in the NFL last year at a 69.5% completion rate, or it might have been higher than that.
I'll double check.
Yeah,
We can
double
literally
check my number. I
do it
think he
right
was the
here.
most accurate QB.
Let's
Or at 70%?
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
70.4. He was
So
the
even
most-
better, 70.4. He's the most accurate QB last year. If I have that numbers with a terrible offensive line, I'm giving Joe Burrow the football and not Joe Mixon. So I'm not saying maybe outside of the top 10, I guess I could see him as RB anywhere from RB 6 to 10, but I don't think he's top 5. I think we're going to see a really big shakeup in the top 5 this year. Najee Harris will not be top 5 this year. Zeke will not be top 5 this
Yeah, I
year.
definitely don't think Najee will be top 5.
Yeah,
And Mixon will not be top 5.
I
this
don't
year.
think Najee's top 5. I also am concerned that he bulked up, honestly.
He's pulling a Kelvin Benjamin on us.
No, I wouldn't say Kelvin. No, it's Eddie Lacy. But
I was going to say
Oh.
Eddie Lacy.
Oh,
sorry, I had to bring up running backs.
But so Alex, this is your sister's running back. What do you think? What's the fantasy advice you're going to give Michaela about Joe Mixon?
Joe Mixon, I would definitely keep him, but the one that I think that I would try to make a trade for if I were Michaela would be for DeAndre Swift. I personally think he'll go in there and replace Joe Mixon. Like, I'm not saying Joe Mixon will be the 17th
I
spot,
like that take.
but I think Swift will end up being in the top 5 by the end of the year.
Okay, so Ryan.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Interesting little hypothesis here. What is it
right.
going to take for Michaela to get DeAndre Swift off of you?
Okay. Well, you're going to have to give me a second because I got to look at her team.
Look at her team. Alex,
I gotta
talk
look at her
to
team.
me about Joe Mixon and what you like about him, what you don't like, what you see for this season.
Well, to your point, Burrow is one that is the guy. He carried his team with Jamar Chase, that chemistry at LSU, and T. Higgins is also a stud. And I honestly don't like. I think the Bengals will still be a good team, but I don't think they're gonna. I think they'll start out a little bit rockier, like kind of like a school hangover, and then they hit their groove kind of mid-season to the end of the season. But I think they're gonna trail more in games than they did last year. And when you trail more, you tend to pass the ball more to catch up. So, even though Joe
That's a
Mixon's
good take.
a
That's a good take.
receiving back, I just don't think he'll be top 5 next year.
I mean, he had 48
I like
targets last year. My bigger issue is, and funny enough, Brett Coleman just came out with the video about the Bengals O-line, and it was how much you realize they do not trust their running backs in pass pro. And
Mhm.
so that's where it's like, well, you're either going to throw Joe Mixon out there to be a receiving back, or you're just going to bank on 5-0 linemen getting it done because you're already going to have to double chase or something like that.
Right.
I personally am in the side of, I think Joe Mixon does not do as good next year. I also
Right.
am going to blame Zach Taylor for it from the get-go.
Ooh.
Just because
Okay.
nothing
Dang.
surprised me at all when watching the games. Like, just, I was like, I've seen that play. I've seen it. Literally the entire playoff run was, my guy is better than your guy. And
And that
we're just
doesn't
gonna
work in the NFL.
It doesn't work twice. Lightning rarely strikes twice. And they're going to have to be more creative, I think. You have, what, 4 extra games of game footage teams can go through. And you see what the Rams did on the Bengals too. And I'm looking at it as, I can't see anything but a regression.
Yeah.
Now, I think
'Cause,
he'll be
that's
top
what you see every
12,
year.
but I don't think he'll be top 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely in the top 12 range. 12 is as far as I would go for Mixon. Like, you could make an argument with me for 12. I'm thinking 6 to 10, but
Yeah,
I could be
that's
argued with about 12.
That's where I see too, because I just don't see the other 2 people potentially. Now I'm going to move forward. We're just going to keep buying Ryan more time to figure out what it will take for a Swift trade.
Yeah, he's having a hard time. I don't think he wants to trade him, which is completely understandable.
We've talked about,
just wait till we get to him.
All right, we've talked about Taylor, we talked about Eckler, we talked about Najee, even for a little bit. Which again, I don't think Najee's going to
next Eddie Lacy candidate.
No, I hope not.
The Eddie Lacy Award goes to
the whole bottle of ranch.
Popeyes biscuit away.
Guys, I want to give y'all a buyer
Oh
beware.
my God.
And actually, this is another Michaela player. James Conner, buyer beware.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about him.
So here's I kind of wanted
well.
to bring this up because here's why. I kind of had to do the math here. So this man had 15 rushing touchdowns while averaging 3.72 yards a carry. And then was away. I mean, he looked really good last year. Let make no mistake. James Conner was really good last year. And I think his running style actually kind of fits what Arizona wants to do, because I don't like it. You're going to do 4 wide, including your tight end. And then that means there's a light box. There's like maybe 5-6 defenders. So you're asking a defender to go one-on-one with James Conner.
Right.
Typically that's going to win in James Conner's favor. Here's the biggest issue why I don't think he'll be top 5. And I would say there is a shot he falls out of the top 20.
No, I agree. And I'm gonna give my take on that in a minute, but I completely agree with that. Josh, preach to the people.
Alrighty, guys. I want you to do this. Add up his rushing attempts and add up his receptions. Divided by how many touchdowns he scored, his touchdown score rate was 7.5%. RB1, Jonathan Taylor. You want to know what his score rate is? 5%. So we're already expecting a regression to the means, to the average, which is roughly 3 to 5%. James Conner had an anomaly season last year with the amount of rushing touchdowns. I don't expect it to happen. I think Darrell Williams will take a lot of the catching work away from him.
Well, look at his yards. He only had 752 yards.
Yeah, well, the big thing was the touchdowns.
He 15 touchdowns.
He was touchdown dependent.
He was touchdown dependent last year.
I mean, whenever I'd play Michaela, I'd be like, all right, how's James Conner doing? Okay, it's the 3rd quarter. He has 50 yards.
2 touchdowns.
1 touchdown. Okay, that's fine. No, 4th quarter hits. He has 3 touchdowns. I'm like, who the flip is this guy?
Yeah, and
why?
And like the crazy thing is, I had to like think about it because I'm like, he fits what they want to do, and I'm like, okay, that's a good thing. But when you're scoring 15 rushing touchdowns, but you didn't do that well running the ball, you can make an argument that you're the person they literally signed last week, and Darrell Williams is better than Chase Edmonds.
Wow, what a take. Darrell Williams is better.
I think I think we're entering a Denver Broncos situation where Darrell Williams and James Conner are going to be ranked right next to each other. because Darrell
Okay.
Williams could literally do it all. He had 1,000
a decent team.
all-purpose yards with Kansas City. It's the quietest 1,000 yards you'll ever see.
Yeah. I mean, Darrell Williams at the back half of last season carried people to the fantasy playoffs
Yep, absolutely did.
when CEH was injured. But all right, Alex, we're back to this segment. I guess this is going to be a recurring segment for the show today. What's your advice to Michaela about James Conner?
Ooh, I guess my advice would be like check in and see who has Darrell Williams. Like, do y'all know if he's a free agent or
He's on Josh's team.
I traded.
Apparently,
for,
everyone we're talking about is on one of our 4 teams plus Michaela.
So he did lose Barkley in a trade earlier in the year.
To guess who?
I guess Josh. I honestly don't remember. But if I were her, I would try to see if I can draft a running back early or try to trade up and draft either Brees Hall.
I mean,
or,
she does control the draft.
Little
I'm saying.
hypothetical, Alex. What is it
Seattle
going to
back.
take? What is it going to take for Michaela to trade up to number 1 overall pick?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Well,
Ooh,
let me take a
dang.
look at her roster.
ooh.
All right,
Right
now we
in
got
some
Alex
time.
looking at Michaela's
Oh,
roster.
all right. Well, welcome to the Josh and Ethan show.
Yeah,
Hello,
really.
thank,
we
thank
have
you for
just-
coming to my TED Talk. I will be running today's session.
Yeah. We have just sent Alex and Ryan to the Shadow Realm figuring out trades.
Welcome to
I'm
fantasy
still
football,
here.
everyone. This
Yeah,
is the
I'm
joy of
still here,
fantasy
people.
football right now.
Okay, so Ethan, I say let's go on. I think we've said what we need to say about James Conner. We definitely see a major
Yeah.
regression from him.
Well, what I was going to mention on him really quickly before we move on is I'm worried about injuries because he is the opposite of Eckler for me. He is looking for contact. He
Yeah.
is putting his shoulder down. He's taking
He's
a
a
lot of
power
hard
back.
hits.
He's
I mean, he's a power back, and there's always a red flag on those.
and he didn't even play a full season last year. He played.
Nope.
He had 15 games,
games.
which is great, which is the best he's done in a long time. I mean,
Right.
part of the issue you can say is he played in the AFC North for 4 years before moving on to the NFC West. But
Right.
I
And here's my second point with it. But before you carry on, I'll let you
Yeah.
get back to that. But my second point on him is you don't have DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the season. They could be below 500 trying to pass out of the hole that they're in without DeAndre Hopkins and not really worrying about running the ball to James Conner.
So that didn't scare me as much, and the only reason why is because of Trey McBride. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well,
okay,
and I'm not saying it's a huge thing, but I'm saying it's gonna affect him.
but I think, well, yeah, because the thing is like, oh, hey, your top all-pro receiver's not here. Well, I don't care that I can just man up on Hollywood Brown and be okay with it. So now I'm just going to focus on the run game.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. I think the only way James Conner does really good is if you have a trash secondary.
Yeah.
To where you have to take out more people to cover everybody. But if you're like, well, Baltimore, say if you're like the Rams, say if you're like San Francisco, where you are pretty confident in your secondary that they can get the job done, you can put more people in the box, and now it doesn't become a one-on-one matchup anymore.
Yeah. Fair enough. Alex, Ryan, really quickly before we move on, do we have answers to the hard questions? Welcome to the real
Yeah,
questions with
welcome-
Ethan McShane segment.
Yeah,
Welcome to Trade Talk.
I have an answer.
Oh,
So TBH, her route doesn't have a whole lot that I want. So I would ask for draft picks.
Yeah,
And
because she controls the draft for the next 3 years.
it's a
he really does.
steep price.
Okay.
Ooh,
Honestly, like I was considering league 2 first rounders.
Wow. Okay, 2 first-round
Mm,
picks,
maybe a second.
2
included.
firsts and a second.
all right. Honestly, if she
DeAndre
were to
Swift.
give a one
An
first,
early second.
1 first and 2 seconds,
No.
We're talking 2023 though.
No, I'm talking a first this year, a first next year, and a second next year.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Oh, I can see it. I can
Okay.
see it.
I think that's fair.
Interesting.
I would make that trade if I was Michaela.
I,
If I was
I
Michaela,
would.
I'd be sending it
because
right
she
now.
has another 5 first rounders ready to go.
Yeah. Oh
Okay.
my gosh. Alex, what is it going to take Michaela to get to the first overall pick for you?
And that's a tough one because to Ryan's point, I'm looking at her roster and there's not really a whole lot of players that I really want either. But I would probably would try to say maybe like a few picks as well. Maybe like I guess maybe probably swap picks this year and
Okay.
definitely get more draft capital.
Alex, who's
next
your
year.
quarterback?
Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill, and Kirk Cousins.
Okay, so you would rather have Dak Prescott over Stafford or Mahomes?
You're on crack. Let me just preface that before you answer. You want Matt Stafford, Alex. Let me answer the question for you. You want Matt Stafford, you want a pick swap, and you want a 2023 second. That's what you want.
Look, I think Matt Stafford for a 101, I think is fair game.
What?
What?
Fair game? Josh.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
Josh,
Here's,
a 101?
here's why. Here's why. You're not
Josh.
getting a better quarterback this year.
You didn't just say that.
You know
Hear
he's
me out.
nearing the end of his career. He
So-
may have a couple years left with the Rams.
For the 101?
That's
For-
it.
All right. Hear me
Wow.
out here. Hear me out here.
Wow. Wow.
I would be gutsy enough to make the move. Now, I understand.
I'm glad you don't have the first overall pick.
I traded the second overall
dude.
pick, Ethan.
Dude, okay.
Yep, thanks for that again, buddy.
Let's evaluate this. Okay. Would you rather have Matt Stafford for maybe 2 to 3 more years before he retires, or say Drake London for the next 10 years?
I'd rather have Drake London for the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
That is. That's why you got to look at the value.
Okay,
of a
so all
101.
right, all right. Let me go through the context. I think Dak takes a major step back. That's just my opinion.
Interesting. Okay.
And
okay.
that's why
Well,
I'm
we're
like,
not even
out
talking about that.
of desperation, am I going to think Kenny Pickett's the answer? No. So that's where I think Stafford is like, do I want 3 years of elite play over the number 1 pick? I can get behind it, but I would say maybe and we talked about it in the quarterback episode. This is the perfect time to get Mahomes. Maybe Mahomes for the 101.
So I could see
Yeah.
that.
I
could
also
see.
I'll switch it to Mahomes for the 101. I had Stafford on the brain, but I would say I think you have a lot fairer trade if you go Mahomes for the 101.
So what's your final
Man.
offer, Alex? What is it going to cost for the 101?
Well,
Mahomes?
I disagree with that because I honestly think Mahomes will take a step back.
Yeah.
To where
I think
Mahomes is not
he'll
better
still
than
be
Dak?
Good. Do what?
To where Mahomes is not better than Dak?
I don't know, man. Tyreek Hill generated.
Whoa! Whoa!
Oh my.
What am I hearing? Okay, we're done. We're done with that. We're not even getting into
No.
that.
I'm just saying,
No.
you're
That
one.
is terrible.
Here's the thing: you are one
Wow.
Travis Kelce injury away from completely having no offense, in my opinion. It takes time to
So
develop
So
chemistry.
no
and
Juju.
I don't think
They have
Juju's
Juju.
all that good though.
I don't
there's
think
Sky
Juju
Moore,
has-
there's
yeah.
Marquez Valdez
Sky Moore.
Scantling. They'll
The guy
have
from
the speed for it,
Clemson.
though. Justin
Guy from
Ross.
Clemson.
Yeah, Justin Ross.
I think he's good. He has potential to be good.
Justin
I don't
Ross
know
is
if
going to be
he'll be with the
disgusting.
Chiefs or
Yeah.
not.
I think Mahomes may struggle this year. You know,
But like it,
transition.
but all right,
But
think of it here.
I think
Once
he's gonna
once
have
they
a
get the
major,
talent resurgence.
yeah, I don't think he's going to go down a lot.
So
But
would
I
you
do
make the
think he's gonna
argument
have a struggle?
that Mahomes for the 101 is perfect right now because you know
Yes.
the resurgence is coming?
That would be a steal of a trade, Alex.
That all right. So that's my final trade offer: Mahomes for the 101.
Or a Stafford package.
Stafford.
Well, don't
that
think
I
just
would-
this
I
year,
would
Alex. You
heavily
can't think
consider-
just this next
No, I
season. You got to
know.
think about
I'm
the
trying
next
to
Okay.
think
12.
long
See,
term.
Patrick
Okay.
being
I
Patrick
would
Mahomes.
heavily consider it, but I don't know.
Interesting. Alex,
I've
who are you
never been
taking
a
with the
big
101?
Mahomes fan.
Name it.
big
Name it
Mahomes
right now here on the podcast. Who are you taking with 101?
Time is on the clock.
I'm not gonna answer that right now.
Okay. All
Oh
right.
my god.
Okay.
you're one of
All right,
those.
guys. All right.
Take Drake London.
All right. Can I throw?
Hey, I'll take Brees Hall at number 2.
There's a few names up there.
Can
Listen,
I-
if you give me Brees Hall at number 2 in this draft, I'm winning the league this year.
says the one with DK Metcalf, but that's with Drew Lock.
I don't make the rules.
Okay. So guys, if I were to throw a completely different offer here, Stafford and a second for the 101. would you guys accept that, or would it?
I don't know. I feel like there would need to be a pick swap.
So you
For
would
this
Yeah.
draft.
so
Yeah.
all right. So 101 this year, but that gets Matthew Stafford and the 2023 first.
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one, Alex. You'd have to
Sorry, can
think
you
about
repeat
that one.
that?
Okay, so the 101 for Matthew Stafford and a 2023 first.
And that is a
Yeah, I'd
tough
take
one.
that.
That's
I
a
would
tough
take
one.
that.
Yeah, okay. So I wasn't too far off. Just had to
I
add
would
one
probably
more
take
first
that.
round in there.
All right. Good to know. Good to know. And thus ends the trade talk segment within the league. We're
All
going
right.
to talk about Fournette now.
Yeah.
Fournette is going to regress out of the top 15 next running.
Yeah, pretty
Wouldn't
much.
be surprised. I mean, they got Rashad White,
Yeah.
but I expect the carries to go up. He only what's crazy is we talked about
Yeah.
Eckler only having 206. Fournette had 180.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
could also see them
I'm surprised.
very
surprised
surprised.
that
We had
That blew
injury
my mind.
stuff.
He was
you
injured
know,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
Rojo came in.
84 targets. Very surprised. But I think that can go
Actually,
up
yeah.
though, because Russell Gage is going to be the number 2. Your number 3, you're really fighting. They just cut Tyler Johnson, so he's out of the picture, which I don't think he was even in the picture to begin with, because Godwin's out.
Godwin's out for the first couple of games of the season.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you lose OJ Howard, so you have Cameron Brate there. We don't know if Gronk's coming back. They could be relying on Fournette a whole lot more.
I think Gronk is going to come back
too.
I think Gronk.
I think
has one
Gronk is
more
going to come back and have a massive first 8 games.
I
And then
can
be
see that.
consistent
He's
for the
done
rest
that.
of the season.
I can see that.
Hey, we'll see.
I
We'll
think
see.
Fournette
Yeah.
stays in the top 12. That I will say. I like if you tell me he's top 5 next year, I can see it. If you tell me he's at the number 8 or number 10, I can see it.
Well, speaking of ridiculous trades, Alvin Kamara was just recently traded. I think we covered this in the last Stat-A-Thon
yeah.
episode.
In our league, yeah, I did not like
For
that trade.
Devontae Adams and Leonard Fournette.
That's a bad trade.
Oh,
Yeah.
You traded the number 8 running back for the number 7 running back and a top 5 wide receiver.
So let's say the big thing. He's not going to be in the top 20 because there is most likely a suspension coming for him. If not, then obviously that opinion changes. But even then, I think it gets interesting. Jameis coming back, and then you have Olave and now Jarvis Landry. So I think this could free up Kamara to have more passing work. I think is very much in the question. But the running work, they also have Mark Ingram there to kind of take the load off there. I think they
only
need
played
to
13
take it.
games.
Yeah, that's the other problem. And he's
that's
up
an
there
issue.
in age too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's
He's
28
getting up there.
or
Yeah.
29.
28, 29, something like that.
So yeah, I'm worried if I'm a Kamara owner. I would not have made that trade. Tyler absolutely robbed Jacob blind.
Yeah.
He did.
I believe he got a second round pick with it.
Yes, because it was
but-
Kamara and a second, I believe.
Yeah.
It was a 2022 second.
But I see Kamara as regressing. If he's suspended for 6 games, he's going to be outside of the top 20.
Yeah. And he will not hit 250 points. That's for sure.
No,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately.
So let's go to him. Let's go to Daryl Patterson. Do you think he stays in the top 12? Because I'm
Yes.
inclined to say top 15, but not top 12.
Unless Algier overtakes him. But go
You
ahead,
saw
Ryan.
It's
it.
Algier.
You saw it last year.
You saw the
CP did
decline.
really well for the first 5 or 6 games, and then he crashed.
You can make the
And he
argument
had-
though that was when Calvin Ridley got suspended or retired,
True,
and so they didn't have a receiving
True.
threat minus.
Yeah, he basically
true,
retired.
true. But he was having a hard time. You tell by the way he ran, he was not having a great time.
Yeah, I want to go through their schedule really quick.
Yeah, 153 carries, 618 yards, average 4 yards a carry. Kind of impressive to be honest, but 69 targets, nice. 52 receptions. 548. He was doing really good through the air.
Alex, what's your take on CP?
Well, I think CP is good. I think he's honestly more of a receiver than a running back because if you're going to have CP on there, then you might as well have Debo on there as well. And Debo's not the rankings at all.
So we put Debo in wide receivers because he basically started out as a wide receiver, so we kind of kept that designation. Whereas
got you.
Cordero Patterson was really from the get-go doing both. It's
Yeah,
a it's
I
a
mean,
good question.
he was
Though.
a
It's a
true
good question.
hybrid.
Yeah, he
so
was a
so
true
CP
hybrid.
from week 2 to week 9 blew up, resurged in week 12, and then he was just kind of all right after that. Week 13, week 14, all right. 6 points against San Francisco in week 15, 13 in week 16, 10 in week 17. Yeah. So I mean, when it came to fantasy playoffs, he probably disappointed, but up until fantasy playoffs, he was destroying.
Yeah.
Okay, here's an interesting number.
The issue
Cordero Patterson right now is rostered in 8% of all leagues, and he's starting in 1%.
I think the big issue is a lot of people are afraid
What?
it's a flash in the pan. But here's why I will say that's why I don't think it. So Matt Ryan's gone. You have
Right.
Mariota / Ritter. Then you also have Kyle Pitts, who's still there, and then you have Drake London, Brian Edwards,
And
Mm-hmm.
Algier.
and Algier. I don't think he hits top 10. The more I'm thinking about it, the
not
more
top
I'm
10,
thinking
but-
he's fringe top 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think he's still going to be really good. I honestly believe he's going to be really good. It's really going to come down to Algier. If Algier becomes the RB1, okay, yeah, he'll be fringe in somewhere in the
Yeah.
20s just based off of receptions and
But
his receiving
if
stuff.
Algier becomes Mike Davis of yesteryear,
Oh God.
Yeah.
I hope not.
We're going to
So
pray against
pain.
that.
Yeah, we will pray again. We will do a prayer
You want
circle
to
for that.
rehash what you said before last year about Davis, Ethan? About how he's gonna have a great year. And
Yeah, well, I
he's
mean,
gonna do
who
great things in
who's going to
Atlanta.
predict that Cordero Patterson was going to come out of literally nowhere
That's true.
and blow up the NFL?
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
come on. And Mike Davis wasn't bad last year. He wasn't bad, but Cordero Patterson is what they needed.
Yeah, that is, and he may be needed in other leagues more than 8%, hopefully. So
I
let's go.
cannot believe that.
The one dude I did not expect to be in the top 10, somehow
Yes.
in the top 10,
My second
Antonio
running back.
Gibson.
Yes. I wanna take this, man. I'm excited
Yeah.
for Antonio Gibson.
I am not.
Hey, and that's okay. That's okay. That's
'Cause
why you
you
traded
own
him to
him.
me.
Well, it's not
Oh,
it's not
yeah,
that.
that's right.
Yeah,
You traded
I did trade him away, but I have a lot more issues to clarify. I have a lot more issues that are not because of Antonio Gibson, but they will impact Antonio Gibson.
As
Listen,
in-
I think Antonio Gibson is going to flash this season. I think he's going to be a top 8 running back because I think he's finally going to show us what we've all seen, which is that
Okay.
CMC ability. I think this is a better offense in Washington that's actually going to move the chains and not rely on Gibson or McLaurin to do everything. I think it's going to be a lot more balance with Dotson.
Hmm.
I think it's going to be. I do think JD McKissick is going to be relevant and taking some away from Gibson, but I honestly see his targets and receptions going up from 52 and 42, and I see his carries going up from 258.
And
What about
that's the
Brian
disagreement.
Robinson Jr.?
So that's one person. Brian Robinson, I think if they didn't draft him in the 3rd round, then we can have the same level of excitement. I think Brian Robinson is there to kind of take some load off of Antonio Gibson so he's not playing, so he can play basically more games, not hurt. But Dotson
Interesting.
being there, Curtis Samuel being there,
But I think that can still
Perry,
be a
Curtis
still be a
Samuel being
bonus
there
for
and
Gibson.
healthy.
that's true.
But
I just
but that
have-
creates more rushing opportunity. Now, if not all of that goes to Gibson, there's still going to be more of a share
This
if
also
their
goes,
offense is clicking.
This also goes back to I also don't trust Scott Turner again. And it's something I
Yeah.
have been saying the entire time. I think if he's at 10 again, if we're talking again next year, and if he's at RB10, I'm happy to be wrong. But I think we're going to see a slight regression, but we're going to basically be confirmed that all of our hype from 2 years ago was for a guy who's going to be a perennial top 15.
I think he goes. I think he takes a little bit of a leap. I think there's going to be more of a share for the running backs. And yes, it's going to be distributed, but with him being healthier, he's going to produce more. Like something's going to come from them, maybe taking away some rushing attempts, but I think there's going to be more receiving opportunities for him. And I think he's going to do more with his attempts. That's what I see for him this year.
I think that's, if that happens, I'll be happy. But right now, I am just not on that same path of excitement.
You know what? And that's okay. I understand that. But I see him going up.
Yeah. Can we talk about the next back? Even though I didn't have him listed, I would like to talk about this one.
Yeah, I want to kick this to you, Alex. What do you think about Nick Chubb?
I do like Nick Chubb a lot. Like, he's probably one of my more favorite backs on here. The problem is that there's always like one injury he tends to get at least once a year, and so he usually misses like a game or two. But I think if he's fully healthy, he's a top 5 back.
Yeah,
and I'll disagree with that too.
Okay, Josh, what's your take?
There is literally almost no evidence of passing work for Nick Chubb, and I've hit my realization that Nick Chubb should not be drafted in the first round because he is there to keep things steady, but he is not there to win your league.
Yep, he's a good RB2.
Yes,
he's a good RB2.
And that's what I don't understand. You give him
consistent.
25. You give him 25 targets. He catches 20 of them, which is a good percentage. And he averages 8.7 yards per carry, and you're not going to include him more in the passing game?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think they're going to have to rely on him more because you're going to have Jacoby Brissett probably starting.
Oh God.
So that's the thing. So that's the other thing. Oh, by the way, Jarvis Landry's in there, but you got Amari Cooper,
Baker's not going to
DPJ. Yeah, Baker said, "I am done with y'all," and
but I don't believe in Kareem Hunt either. I think Kareem Hunt's going to be injured again.
No, but that's why I think they drafted Demetric Felton.
Yeah.
But even with Felton, they're just going to
they got Jerome
hand the ball
Ford
off
now,
more to Nick Chubb.
But my issue is I don't think anything like just because he's getting more doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Yeah,
that's my issue.
I see Nick Chubb is playing more games this season and putting up more points. I think there's going to be a slight increase to Nick Chubb.
If they have to start Jacoby Brissett, you may very well be right. I just
hope they throw him the football.
I don't think they are. That's my.
Yeah. Well, they haven't shown it, but I think that's what Cleveland is missing, is getting Chubb the ball in space in the passing game.
Because then you can be more creative with your play calling because now you're like, oh wait, you could throw it to Nick Chubb if you want.
Because they're giving that work to Kareem Hunt, and yeah, he's making something out of it, but the way that Gibson's performed, I would rather give it to him. But that's just me from what I've seen from watching him. And I love Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is one of my favorite running backs in the NFL as well. I'm not a Browns fan, but I love Nick Chubb.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think he stays in this category. I think 2 years ago was an anomaly.
Yeah.
So after that is Josh Jacobs. Actually, let me just bring up the next 5.
I love Josh Jacobs.
So the next 5 in this order: Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Damian Harris, Derrick Henry. Who do we think is going to take a big leap out of
between
this?
Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook?
Yes.
Damian Harris and Derrick Henry. Oh God.
Derrick Henry's
one. I would also say
8 games, and he was still a top 20 running back.
There's 3 in
this. It's not Derrick Henry for me. It's Aaron Jones.
Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, and Dalvin Cook. Those are the 3 I think take a big leap.
See, here's the thing about Josh Jacobs.
I have Damian Harris in there, but I don't think he's going to make a huge leap.
Well, the only reason I don't think Damian Harris is because I really do think Pierre Strong's going to be way more involved.
Okay.
And Ramondre, because Ramondre was starting to show up last year too. With Derrick Henry, though, you trade AJ Brown, you're going to be relying on Treylon Burks, Robert Woods if he's good to go. Tannehill's there, but guess whose show it still is? Derrick Henry's. And when you're averaging 31.51 fantasy points a game, and you only played half the season, He's look. I would be okay if you drafted in a redraft if you drafted Derrick Henry with the 103.
All right, before you're wrong for a third take in a row, Josh, go ahead, Alex. Give us your list.
How am I wrong for the
on these
third
five
take
running
in a
backs?
row?
I like Josh Jacobs, but I do think that the Raiders' running back room is a little bit more crowded than it was last year. So I think that he'll actually drop a little bit. I kind of regressed a little
He
bit.
will be on a different team next season.
Yeah, the most notable
I agree
running
with that.
back I
Different
think
next
they
season.
signed was Brandon Bolden, which again New England system.
But they also drafted Zamir White out of Georgia.
You
Which
are
I
correct
love.
about that. Zamir White.
Which I think that's a good draft. That's why I think this might be Josh Jacobs' last year.
Yeah,
Or
and
he
they
may be one of those mid-season trades. You never know.
He'll be top
they
20.
declined the. Oh, I didn't think about a midseason trade, but I like that thinking. But Josh Jacobs
like
did
that.
get declined the 5th-year option too.
Here's my thing about Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is the ultimate flex player. Like, if there was a six man of the year award in fantasy football, it would have gone to Josh Jacobs.
He is the Jamal Crawford.
He is the Jamal Crawford of the NFL. Like, and I'm not even kidding. Like, Josh
I
Jacobs was my
100%
flex every single week.
because he was putting
Okay.
it. Yeah, he was getting it done. He was never
Yeah.
in that.
In
top
every
12
game, he averaged
consideration.
18 points.
Yeah,
And it was free cash every game. I was like, okay, I need 18 points. Who do I have left? Josh Jacobs. I won.
but he is that perfect player for that consistency.
That was literally
Yeah,
when
he
I was
very
sitting
consistent.
watching my team, and it came down to the Monday night football game, which God, I can't tell you how many times the Raiders played on Monday night, but it was a lot. And I was like, oh God, who do I have left? I'm down 5 points. Who's Josh Jacobs? I won. Next matchup. I didn't even need to
Yeah.
watch the game because that's who Josh Jacobs is. He's the ultimate flex player. He is going to win you or lose you games. Most of the time, win if you're within 10 points. Josh Jacobs will win you your game every week.
100% agree with you.
Period.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I do
Alright.
see maybe a slight regression with him, but I think he'll still be in the top 20.
Well, because either way, I think even in a dynasty sense, still keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Maybe not 12, but he's going to
Yeah.
be really good.
Aaron Jones, Ethan and I have already said, you probably heard it from the very beginning.
Yeah. Hopefully we play
Um,
that initial clip
Absolutely.
talking
because
about Aaron Jones.
I want it
he's gonna
on the
blow up.
record, and I'm the editor. So,
Yeah.
so I think Aaron Jones is definitely going to go up because Christian Watson, Romeo Dubes, Mario Rogers still going to need some time to kind of get used to everything. Yet Lazard there, but
The only thing that stops him is an injury.
yep, that's the only thing. Otherwise, I think we're in Aaron Jones City, and I also think AJ Dillon shows up within the top 20.
Yeah, I think AJ Dillon in the top 20 and Aaron Jones in the top 6
Yep.
or top 5.
A
That's
lot to ask for one offense. But
it is, but
Yeah,
I
but
think
he has that potential.
this particular season it's going to happen though.
then buy Aaron Rodgers.
Because I think because
if you can buy
he's
low
gonna
on Aaron
He's going
Rodgers,
to be
Yeah.
out of the top 10. If they're running that much, he's going to be out of the top 10 because they're not going to be.
oh, you
passing.
mean sell Aaron Rodgers? I would sell
No,
Aaron Rodgers,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
saying, yeah, he's going to be a top 10. If you're saying that Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon are going to get that much work to both be in the top 20 and one be in the top 6.
Oh, I'm not
then,
saying top
yeah,
6.
Aaron
I'll say top
Rodgers
10.
isn't- And then Aaron Rodgers isn't going to get anything. Like,
Oh
he's
yeah,
gonna be
no, I would be
passing
selling
hardly
Aaron
at all.
Rodgers if I have him.
I would. All right, I'll make an
So then
argument.
buy Christian Watson.
I will keep Aaron Rodgers. And the
Okay.
only reason why is because I know I'm going to get a consistent 15 to 18. He's not going to win you a week like
Okay,
it has
that's
been
fair.
in past years, but he is going to bring that consistency.
I think Aaron Jones will pop off because I'm looking at the Packers schedule and there's like a few hard teams in there, but as a whole, it's a relatively easier schedule. And so I think that they're already going to have that lead built up in the fourth quarter where they're just going to run out the clock.
give
And
it
I'd
to 'em.
rather have Jones than Dillon, in my opinion.
I agree.
I don't necessarily agree with that. But
And
All right,
in our
it's fine.
league,
It's
it's
okay,
in
Ryan.
our
I've
league,
expressed it.
yeah.
I've expressed.
All
okay.
right, Ryan, your next running back's up. Go ahead and fanboy.
Yep. Good old Dalvin Cook. He missed a couple of games last year. That's why he's so low on this. Honestly, he would have been in a solid top 10.
Yeah.
If he hadn't missed.
So many games.
Didn't get as many targets as in the past.
He would have kept Ryan in the
And
playoffs
I think that's
too.
going to be, I think going to be, that was last year. Yeah. I think it's going to be a little different.
Painful.
I think it's going to be a little different this year with KOC. I heard they're doing a lot more 3 wide receiver sets in Minnesota.
I mean, makes
Which
sense.
is
You got Thielen,
So
Jets, and
KJ Osborne.
Yep.
And and Amir Smith-Marset. So honestly, like you're starting to get more 3 wide receiver sets, so they may not be reliant on Cook as much anymore.
I think his
gonna be,
numbers
like-
goes up because he plays more games, but
Yeah.
I could see them
Yeah,
not
his numbers will definitely go up.
using him as
But like
much.
I think
he's
maybe
yeah.
this pace stays consistent.
right.
they're still planning on doing shoot.
Because
what
if
is it?
anything, like what KOC learned, especially in the Super Bowl, is sticking with the run, even though it's not working, is going to open other things up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And they're going to use him as a sledgehammer to open up the defense. So
And that's
I
also
mean, he's going to get work.
now that they're
He's
going to
he may not get as much.
3 receiver sets, that makes total sense why they drafted Ty Chandler. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can see
Yeah.
that. I mean, I love Dalvin Cook. I don't have him
Yeah.
in our league, unfortunately. He's gone to Lady Richter's team from
Oh,
Ryan.
that's right. I forgot about
Yep.
that
Yep.
because I had him first.
I think oh man, I think Dalvin Cook. Oh man, I have no idea where he's going to be next
That-
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one, if you tell me he's top 5, I get it. And if you tell me he's out of the top 20, I get it. I have no idea.
Wow,
So that one we'll have to go back to.
that one's
Even
going to
though
be a
I
wait
said-
and see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see the next few. I think Damian Harris kind of goes down a little bit. We have Swift. We kind of talked about Swift for a little bit. We have the two
King
prop-
Henry's return as well.
Yep.
Henry's return, yes.
Yeah. King Henry will rise, and
I mean,
Yeah.
I've never seen someone who averaged 30
31
points per
point.
game.
Yeah,
That's
and they're gonna
honestly
have
just
and-
absurd.
and they're gonna have to
And
rely
in
on him more.
that epic 5-game streak that he had, 3 of those games he scored 3 touchdowns each. That's 9 touchdowns in 3 games. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Philip was really
Absolutely.
happy, and then he was really not, and I think that's why he died on us.
It was like, oh no. Let's talk about the 2 Denver backs. How do we guys feel how that's gonna play out this year?
I think they're going to be where they are right now, like both kind of fringe top 20 picks. Both are going to be decent, but neither are going to
Yeah.
be great.
I agree. Until Melvin Gordon gets kicked out of there,
Until he
Javonte
gets
Which
a
at
big
this
nod.
point, I don't want to. Melvin Gordon was great last year.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon to me was what Josh Jacobs was to you for
Yeah.
flex wise.
Well,
Oh,
because who
yeah,
are your
and-
top
and
2
that's
running
why,
backs right
like-
now, Alex? Is it Zeke and
It's Zeke and
Melvin?
Chubb, I thought.
It's
No.
Zeke,
No, I have-
No,
Melvin,
you
and
have Chubb,
Pollard.
right?
Zeke
Zeke, Melvin, and Pollard.
and Pollard? Okay, so I know who's taking Brees Hall at the 1-on-1, but anyways.
Well, I also have Hines, and I think Hines will pop off too.
Oh, that's right. You
Yeah.
have Hines. God.
So I could easily be taking Drake London.
Hey, there's the pettiness. There we go.
Dude, I hope you're petty enough to take Drake London at number 1 so I could take Brees Hall. Oh,
I may not. I
nothing
may
would make me
surprise
happy.
everybody and take Garrett Wilson.
Interesting.
Oh,
Interesting.
God.
Alex,
Right.
if you take anyone other than Drake London or Brees Hall, we're gonna have to pause the draft, take a 30-minute break, and let everybody cry for a second.
You're gonna see me trash the set.
Well, you know what? You know what I might do, because
I swear to God.
you
you're
know
gonna see
I like Dak too, but I need a good backup. I might even draft Kenny Pickett.
At 101,
Hey. Seriously?
Nah, I'm kidding. I want it. I don't even
You're
know
gonna
if
be
I
like
would even
your-
draft
your-
him at all.
Be like your sister and draft Patrick
No,
Mahomes in
look,
the first round.
Look, that's
Oh,
it.
yeah, I
This is
forgot
this
she
is
did.
divine intervention. No, just no. If you weren't willing to take a trade for the 101
my
for Patrick
gosh.
Mahomes, what makes you think drafting Kenny Pickett with the 101 is a better idea?
Oh, I was kidding. I honestly would probably want to draft Pickett. Period.
Okay, all right, yeah,
I
you're
honestly
back.
think Pickett will
You're
be a
back.
bust, or not a bust, but I
Ooh,
think he'll
okay.
be average. Like I don't think he'll be anything special.
I actually can't handle what's happening right now.
Oh,
I wanna
all
go
right,
home.
let's
and
go.
I'm already at home. I'm already in my basement. I wanna go home.
All right, next running back before we
Oh my gosh.
diverge.
I'm gonna die.
Let's see, Devin Singletary. How do we feel?
I think he's gonna be better this year. Than hold on, what was he last year?
Yeah,
He's
I think
he's gonna be better than
Yeah, he'll be
RB20.
better.
Split time
With
he split
Zach
time a lot with
Yeah,
Zach
he's not
Moss
splitting
for the
time. He's gonna have
first-
over 200 carries.
first 12 games or something, and then the last like 5
Well,
games.
he'll
he
have
had-
over 200 carries. I think he'll split a lot of passing work though with James Cook.
Yeah, I see him as a
Yeah.
part of the top 20 with over 250 points.
I
Yeah.
can get behind that.
I like Singletary.
I agree with
David
that.
Montgomery is going to be a regress, though. We didn't mention him. He was number 19.
Yeah, because he unfortunately he has to deal with the rebuild. To me, he's a buy low
Yeah.
candidate. Don't play him this year. Play him next year though.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he has there though.
Do you
Hey,
think he
I
leaves?
appreciate being on the show, but I gotta go.
Oh, you gotta go.
Yeah, thanks
Good.
Thanks for coming
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
Alex.
thank you.
Talking
Thank
a
you,
little
Alex.
football.
Coming in
Yeah.
and
No
No problem,
talking,
guys. I will leave one
Yeah.
nugget. I'm very disappointed of not seeing J.K. Dobbins up there.
Well,
though
it's based
Oh,
off
he's out for the year.
stats. He was out
Oh,
for
yeah,
the year.
My predictions, I think he'll be a top 15 back.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I'm
Top
gonna
15
leave
back,
with that
J.K.
little nugget. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Little JK mic
That's-
drop. I can respect
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I
That's
like that.
definitely something.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. See
I
you,
think
Alex.
he'll be
Thanks for
good.
coming.
Yeah.
No problem, guys. Appreciate
Thank you,
being
Alex.
on with y'all.
See you, bud.
See ya.
I think we should go to kind of like our last little, maybe like popcorn of like who we see surging, or if there are any like glaring regressions. Like
Okay.
Elijah Mitchell for me is a surge.
Yeah, I can see. Tony Pollard at 25. I kind of see that maybe going up a little bit. Gaskin gone.
Gaskin's gone completely off the face
Yeah.
of the earth.
Robinson
is gone.
Robinson's
Yeah,
gone.
Robinson's
Yeah.
gone.
Sony Michelle is gone.
Michael
Carter.
I think
Gone.
Michael Carter will jump a little bit.
I think he can stay
What
in
do
that
you?
range.
Okay. Big question here. Big Saquon. Do you think he resurges
Surge.
with this new
Surge.
offense?
Surge.
Okay.
Surge.
Surge.
With Dabble, surge.
Okay.
That's why I
Yeah.
want to get my claws in him if Josh will let me.
I'm not ready to pull it. He's like,
Yeah, but just wait. Just wait until freaking Mr. Petty Hell drafts Drake London 101 overall and I have Brees Hall on my team. Just wait.
yeah.
Then we'll have
This is
then
gonna
we'll
be
talk.
I mean,
interesting.
let's look at who Devontae Booker probably won't be RB32. Chuba Hubbard,
No.
I think, is going to fall off the face of the earth. Devontae
I can
Freeman
see
definitely
Darrell
not gonna
Henderson
be there.
staying.
Henderson, I think at this range, I'm okay with.
No.
Oh, Michelle's off the face of the earth. Michelle went to.
Yeah, Michelle's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Okay.
think- hold on. Why Darrell Henderson?
Because he's back into being the number 2 spot. Cam Akers is still going to be there. It's a big.
I can
question
see him
mark.
taking Akers over at 1. I could see Henderson being
It's
at
a
number
it's
1.
a 2 running back backfield.
I
Sony
think
Michelle's not
Akers-
there.
I think
Honestly-
Akers has it.
His average at 15 points is a lie because that's only encompassing games where he left because he was injured.
Yeah, that's the problem with Darrell Henderson is that's why
His-
I
His
can
average
see-
was probably closer to 22 points a game.
yeah,
or
and he just kept
21.
getting hurt. That's the issue, and that's been this
Yeah.
case every year. There's one person I want to bring up, and he's actually way further on this list. Actually, I want to talk about running backs
CMC.
38 and 39. So let's start with Rashad Penny.
Number 1 running back in Seattle next season.
Hmm.
I think
That's
you're-
my take.
Over
My-
Carson.
Over Chris Carson.
Carson's not playing. I feel bad to say that, and I really do hope he gets he needs to get
Yeah.
healthy before
Ryan, sorry for you who traded for Chris Carson and got robbed, but yeah.
Yeah.
because they also have Kenneth Walker. That's also
Rashad Penny will be the number 1 running back in Seattle next year.
and I mean I think with Rashad Penny, he's just gonna get points in chunks. It's gonna be a 15-yard run, 20-yard run. You're not gonna see a giant home run out of him. But I
Hold
also
on.
realized when he was What's up?
Is Dearness Johnson over Kareem Hunt?
Yes, because he had that one big game, and Kareem Hunt didn't play that much, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my gosh. No, that's just so surprising me. Sorry,
Kareem Hunt
sorry.
didn't really have.
Back on your train. I flipped Kareem Hunt for Deontay Johnson. I'm actually a menace to society, but continue.
Nice. But I mean, my biggest thing when I was watching Rashad Penny, like for this episode, it was one, you have to be careful about the injury risk, and then you're going to get zone, and more zone. Because that's what a lot of it was. It was like run zone, and then you let him pick the hole.
Right.
And so I think that's what's going to happen again. But I could also see him being completely off the face of the earth as Kenneth Walker takes the Seattle back to a wild card. I don't think that's actually going to happen, but I think.
So you taking Ken Walker with the 103?
Ooh.
This has been a lot of good hypotheticals today. I'm actually really liking these.
That's a good one.
We'll put a pin in it.
Because it's him or Algier at 103.
We'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to it.
I think I can be talked into it.
So speak to Phillips Grave right now and tell him to take Ken Walker with the 103.
I mean, he has Cam Akers and Derrick Henry, so.
But I see Cam Akers regress.
He would be able to bolster.
I don't think Cam Akers is going to be relevant.
I think Cam Akers will be.
Because he's going to get injured and split with Henderson, and Henderson is going to have a couple of good games.
Okay, I can see that. So the last person I want to talk about is CMC, and
of course,
yes, I like Payne apparently.
Yep,
I do think there's a major surge from CMC this year. I will speak that out loud.
If they can keep him healthy, absolutely. I mean, it's CMC.
So here's why I think they will. They hired Ben McAdoo, and I'm like, wow, that's a crappy hire. I don't like that. The more I thought about it, the more I'm like, no, this could actually be in CMC's favor.
Okay.
So Eli Manning, guess his best seasons.
Well, obviously when he won the Super Bowl.
Well,
so
yeah.
Was that 2012?
2011. But the big thing about
That's right. It was 2011. But 2012 does.
Statistically, back in 2012.
No.
No, we're talking about Eli Manning.
Eli Manning's best statistical years were with Ben McAdoo. And the reason why, what Ben McAdoo likes to do is spread. Now, if you're looking at CMC stats, you see 99 carries, only 41 targets. I think that can get very even next year to where there's a whole lot more passing work, and that's how you keep CMC healthy. So that's where I think
check down, run out of bounds.
Check down, run out of bounds, or check down, score a touchdown.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I like it. I want to see CMC come back, so I'm with that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I want your team to fail like spectacularly, but I mean,
we're not even in the same division.
Yeah, but I just want you to.
I might be switching up the divisions there.
Ooh, okay, cool. I like that.
Realignment.
Dude, if we all right,
give some variety. Like, look, if it gives us different competition,
change it every year. Change it every year.
We need to. We'll do a special episode. Let's do a special division realignment episode as after our rookie draft.
That's part we should.
Actually, what I was thinking of doing was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So our rankings from last year would determine which division we're in.
Okay. I can
get down with that. I think
so that we're not having 1-5 in Division A and 5 or in 6 through 10.
I mean, you don't want to have it where there's one guy who just absolutely blows up the league in one division and 4 suckers.
Exactly. And I don't want to do that. So
I think
I'm trying to make it as even as possible.
Well, let's go through that another day.
That's definitely a quarter rules episode.
I want to bring up our last running back because he's not on this list, and I would be more than happy to tell you why he's not on this list. I'm talking about ETN. Okay.
ETN. out for the year last year with a Liz Frank injury, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
And he is on pace to start week 1.
Yep.
And
Crazy.
James Robinson is still recovering. Well, yes, one, that's a crazy recovery, but from everything I've heard, he's healed from that injury. He's ready to
so
go.
where do you see ETN?
I see ETN.
Mhm.
I think it's the big question mark, but I see him in a Debo Samuels type role, which could put him anywhere from top 12 to top 5. Like if we look back at the end of the season next year and we see ETN at RB5, I would not be surprised.
I don't think he hits top 5. I think his ceiling could be 8.
I think. Yeah.
I would really
I'd
not
say
be surprised if you say
ceiling 8. I'd be surprised if he cracks the top 12
Really? Okay. So why?
wow.
with that offense. I mean, think of what they did last year.
Well, okay,
They
but you
didn't
can't
hardly
look
do
at
anything.
okay, don't bring up last year when this is a completely different football team. This is a
Not completely
completely
different.
different football team.
What
They
did
actually have a decent offensive line now. So they shored up their guard spot and their center spot. Okay. You have the connection
most part,
between
yeah.
ETN and Lawrence already. Now you actually have a head football coach, not Urban Dance on My Lap
that
Myers.
is true.
Okay.
That is true. They do.
You actually have a
much
good coach
better
in
football
Doug
coach.
Peterson. Doug Peterson took Wentz during his MVP year and coached alongside him. So I see a spectacular recovery coming from Trevor Lawrence,
Can I?
which will directly lead to ETN's success. And I see ETN in a Debo Samuel type role,
I'm not
which is
gonna.
going to be points.
I'm not gonna disagree, but can I throw a counterpoint?
Play devil's advocate. Do it.
So here's the one concern I have, and it's how Doug Peterson uses players. And I think we had this issue with Wentz where they changed the offense into an RPO system for Nick Foles, and we're all like, why aren't you doing that for Carson Wentz?
Mhm.
And then you realize, oh, that system kind of left when Frank Wright went to become the head coach of the Colts.
Right.
And I think if it doesn't work the way you think it will, I think it's because Doug Pearson just doesn't know how to use the talents that he has, or at least
here's my
make
thing
it
with
easy.
that.
That's
Here's the
definitely
difference of
possible.
rosters. So you're coming from the Eagles where you have Sanders, Boston Scott, and forgive me, what's the third? Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard, yep.
So you're coming from that where you have 3 legitimate high-end RB2, low-end RB1 potentials, which is why he used them that way. Now, right or wrong, it was wrong. You don't have that in Jacksonville. You only have ETN. Who else is he going to put in that? Snoop Connor? He's going to use Snoop Connor like how he used Boston Scott and Jordan Howard? The only person he has is ETN.
Well,
So you think it's
James
like
Robinson when he gets healthy?
You think
So
like
yeah,
a James
maybe
Robinson?
ETN for a couple of weeks, but
Do you think we're in another James Robinson situation that it's like no matter what, he's going to get the volume to be relevant?
I think yes at first, but I think with that volume, he's going to blow up. It's not just going to be because he has so much volume and he's doing more than everyone else. I think he's going to be electric because it's kind of like the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow effect of you get players who had really strong chemistry already. You put them on the same team in a good position with high volume, and they're going to produce. This is going to be the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow effect in Jacksonville. And on top of that, you have a better defense. I like their offense already. It was honestly just Trevor Lawrence having really, really bad time with the offensive line, which they've improved, and then not having the development or being as ready to start that freshman year.
he has definitely developed over the last year.
And he looked
think he's
really
gonna be a lot
good week 18 though.
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be electric this year, which is going to feed into Travis Etienne is it Travis Etienne?
Yeah, Travis Etienne.
Which is going to lead into Travis Etienne's success. That is my prediction.
Okay. I can get on board with it.
I'll go along with you on that.
The
go
Jamar
along
Chase,
with
Joe
that.
Burrow effect. That's what
Oh,
we're all going to
see,
be calling it.
So in that case, I think this is a perfect segue because I think we've talked about everyone, right? We
Yeah, I
didn't
think
miss
that's
one.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it's bust, sleeper, and lock time.
Oh yeah.
All right, who's your bust?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
Clyde
don't-
Edwards-Helaire. I'll start it off.
I think he's.
Clyde
I'll be honest.
Edwards-Helaire.
Okay. For me, it's James Conner. I mean, a lot of the aforementioned.
Wow, okay.
I'm gonna say James Conner.
Okay. What I
No.
see as a bust is somebody who's inside the top 20 right now, falling outside of the top 20.
Okay.
And that's why it's CEH. Well, actually, I don't know if CEH
CH wasn't even in the top
I think
20.
it was close.
Yeah, he was close, but I'll tell you
He
what. I think CEH will
top
be
20.
kind of relevant.
Yeah, he's
anyone
still my
realize-
bust. But
Did anyone realize that he dropped to 160 and had gallbladder surgery last year?
Dang.
It got resurfaced, and I was like, "Wait, when did
oh,
this
and
happen?"
Leonard Fournette. So for my falling outside of the top 20, I could see Leonard Fournette falling outside of the top 20.
Alrighty, I had
Yeah,
James Conner, Ethan with
possible.
Fournette, Ryan. Who are we
CEH
picking?
or Fournette?
CEH definitely. Fournette, I would agree on.
Okay, all right, everybody.
Consensus Fournette bust.
Sleeper.
I have two echelons though, because Eckler's my sleeper to be the #1 running back in the NFL.
I would get honestly, I would consider him as a lock
Yeah.
because
So-
sleeper for me is DeAndre.
okay.
DeAndre Swift. Okay.
Swift. He's
My
ranked
sleeper's got to
17.
be ETN.
He's ranked 17.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be at
Ethan.
least
You're yeah,
12.
you're emotionally obligated to.
Yeah,
Make it
I
ETN.
can't at this point go away from ETN. ETN's my
All
sleeper.
right.
He could be RB5.
Let me tell you, it was kind of spoiled by Alex, but I'll say JK.
Oh, okay.
And
Good.
the reason
Oh,
why
I
is
like it.
they multiple tight ends, Hollywood gone, but that offense needs a good running back. And I think you saw it to where if no one believed, like if they needed people to realize, oh, you need to bring everybody into the box, and that's where the passing game will work. And I think with JK, though, you will get a lot more work in the passing game with him, but he is such an explosive runner, and I'm hoping if he's healthy, he's top 15 for me.
Okay, I like it.
All right, so we had JK, ETN,
And
Right.
DeAndre Swift.
oh yeah, Swift. All right, guys, who is your lock?
Ryan may be more right about the sleepers than me and you, Josh, but
Yeah.
that's okay. I'll take that L.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ryan, who's your lock?
Ooh.
Okay, can
Lock
I
is definitely, I think, Austin Eckler. And I want to say
Yeah,
Mix.
Eckler.
look? I was about to say
You
we
know-
all
you may
agree.
not agree on Mix.
we all agree on
I
Eckler. We all agree on Eckler, so let's not include Eckler.
Dang.
If you could pick, if you
the Mixon for me.
Ethan,
Lock for what?
let's say
Top
Clarify.
10.
top 10.
Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb.
What?
Nick Chubb.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think
All right. Look, JT would be just a cheat. We already said Eckler doesn't count because we all agree on Eckler.
And if you say Najee Harris,
I am
stop.
not
Go
saying
home.
Najee Harris. Give me the king. King Henry, baby.
Oh,
he's back.
so. Henry.
I
Right.
love the take.
All right.
I love that take.
Dang.
Okay. King Henry, lock for top 10. I think you can make an argument for Aaron Jones as well.
Oh yeah. Dang it, man. There's going to be so many good running backs this year.
I'm so excited for fantasy next year. Can I just tell you?
It's going to be so much fun.
You guys.
Man. Well, here's the big thing, and this will kind of time up the
One stat. So you say Nick Chubb can't be top 10, 5.5 yards per carry.
it's the passing work, and I think a lot more people are going to get passing work.
I think he gets
I think
included
it's
more in the passing work.
See,
5.5 yards per
that's-
carry and more passing touches. Top 10 running
I
back.
think it's
So, guys, we are less than 100 days away from the NFL season starting. So what that means is you're going to hear more from us especially over this remaining course of the off season. Next week, we are going to have the receivers, and we have a special guest on that we cannot wait for you to see. Which, I mean, we can announce it if you want, but
it's our league champion.
The champ.
big man himself.
The
The
champ.
champ is coming.
Big
Stay
Baldy.
tuned.
Yep, and
Captain Baldy.
we are going to be talking about the receivers of last year, and that's going to be a whole fun conversation in of itself. As again, we do want to thank you all for watching again the Last Place Fantasy Football podcast. Don't forget to hit us up on our socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and check us out on Anchor, Apple, Spotify, along with YouTube, obviously. But I am Josh, that is Ethan, and that is Ryan, and we will see y'all next week.
Bye.